What's up lovely viewers, ShowsWeb is back again with a scary mood, because of a full drama horror movie recap, named, Carrie, released in 2013. Margaret White is a religious ideologue who believes that everything is wicked, especially when it concerns women, their bodies, and sex. She is on her wounded bed in the first scene, crying in pain and pleading with God to forgive her sins. She is so disconnected from reality that she believes she is dying of cancer while, in fact, she is in labor. When the pain stops, she glances in between her legs and freezes in surprise to find a baby daughter. Margaret believes the child is the product of the sin she committed with her ex-husband. She pulls out a pair of scissors, ready to murder the infant, but she can't bring herself to do so. Carrie is the name given to the little girl later on. Margaret has gradually imposed her religious ideas on Carrie, denying her any independence. She discourages her from making friends or talking to men, and she refuses to allow her to attend school for most of her childhood. When Carrie reaches the age of 16, children's rights campaigners force Margaret to allow her daughter to attend high school. Carrie, on the other hand, is constantly mocked due to her antisocial and introverted personality. She never speaks to anyone and seems stunned when girls reveal their cleavage or couples kiss. Dating is an alien idea to her. Carrie inadvertently smacks the popular girl Sue in the head as the students are playing water volleyball one day. Chris, Sue's buddy, makes fun of Carrie, and everyone laughs at her. They head to the shower room to change after class. Carrie begins to fear as she receives her first period while showering. She has never been taught anything about menstruation or female anatomy. The blood trickling down her legs gives her the impression that she is dying of an illness. She dashes around, anxiously asking the girls for assistance. Chris notices Carrie's lack of understanding about menstruation and mocks her. Soon, the other females join in and start throwing tampons at her while filming her sobbing. Sue feels awful for Carrie but does not intervene because she is afraid of being labeled an outcast like her. They only come to a halt when Miss Desjardins, the gym teacher, arrives. Carrie begins to fear, shouting and wailing even after the girls have left. The teacher slaps her across the face to calm her down. As the girls walk away, Carrie glares angrily at the light bulb, which shatters by chance. When the principal learns of the event, he requests that Miss Desjardins punish the bullies however she sees fit. He also urges Carrie to relax because her mother has been contacted. Her mother discovering out she has periods, on the other hand, makes her even more concerned. She begins to hyperventilate, and a water cooler in the room inexplicably shatters. Margaret arrives to pick up her daughter and notices Chris and her boyfriend kissing. She does not want such influence around her daughter and prays to God to show the spoiled children the right route in life. Carrie confronts Margaret on the drive home about why she never educated her about menstruation, but Margaret doesn't respond. Before getting out of the car, a neighbor youngster calls Carrie a freak. She looks at him and causes him to tumble off his bike. Similar bizarre occurrences have been happening to her for the past few months, and she has no idea why. Margaret is hitting her head against the wall inside the house, apologizing to God for raising a daughter who will one day sin as she did with her ex-husband. She even makes up false Bible texts to convince Carrie that bleeding during her period is a sin and that she has turned into a sinner. Miss Desjardins had already explained everything about menstruation to Carrie, so she knows her mother is lying. She responds that it is normal and that every girl understands. Margaret responds by slamming her in the head with a Bible. She puts her in a little prayer closet, telling her she can only come out when she has sought God for forgiveness. Carrie yells angrily, causing the door to creak. She then sets her gaze on a swollen sculpture of Jesus. Sue and her boyfriend Tommy are somewhere else, in Tommy's Jeep. They make love in the car at his request. Sue informs him after getting dressed that she feels awful for not assisting Carrie in the shower room. Meanwhile, Chris is at home with her boyfriend Billy. Unlike Sue, she exhibits no remorse, despite the fact that she was the one who started the bullying. To further humiliate Carrie, she posts the video of the encounter on the internet. Margaret is sewing garments in the house while singing songs. It's almost as though she's forgotten what happened earlier with her daughter. Carrie is eventually let out of the closet after she confirms that she prayed to God. Miss Desjardins gathers Chris and Sue, as well as all of the other girls who were participating. The next day at school, they will have to do suicide sprints for an hour for the rest of the week as punishment. Anyone who disobeys will be barred from attending the upcoming prom. Chris dismisses the punishment as nonsense and challenges Miss Desjardins to force her to stop attending prom. Miss Desjardins, angry, suspends her and revokes her prom privileges. Chris complains and attempts to rally the other girls to her cause, but no one, not even her best friend Sue, backs her up. Meanwhile, the entire school has seen the video of Carrie being bullied. They mock her and even put graffiti on her locker that reads, "Carrie White eats scrap." She goes to the restroom, humiliated and enraged, and focuses on the mirror, which shatters as a result of her look. Carrie eventually realizes she possesses the power of psychokinesis, which means she can move items and people with her mind alone. She goes to the library and studied numerous books about psychokinesis to learn more about her gift. The article on it leads her to believe that, like menstruation, having such power is normal for some individuals. In the following session, she is called to the front of the room to read a poem. When she's finished, Sue's boyfriend Tommy mutters an insult under his breath. But when encouraged to speak louder, he says Carrie's poem was great. Carrie is surprised and embarrassed that a man complimented her. Meanwhile, Chris summons her lawyer father to the school in an attempt to have her prom rights reinstated. She takes on the role of the victim, accusing Miss Desjardins of verbally assaulting her. Miss Desjardins asks for her phone, which contains a video of her bullying Carrie, to establish her point. Chris, on the other hand, refuses to hand it over, showing her guilt. Carrie puts her talents to the test at night by levitating books and her bed. Margaret hears a disturbance and goes upstairs to investigate with a knife. Carrie is now pretending to sleep, so she puts the knife down. Sue asks her boyfriend Tommy to drive Carrie to the prom the next day. She believes Carrie is entitled to one night of enjoyment and is willing to forego senior prom for her. Tommy wants to accompany Sue, but after being persuaded repeatedly, he accepts. He then approaches Carrie and invites her to prom. Carrie, who is taken aback, believes he is playing a joke on her and flees. Miss Desjardins later discovers her sobbing in the locker room. Carrie tells her about Tommy's proposal when she is asked what's wrong. Carrie is supported by her teacher, but she is aware that Tommy regards her as an outcast. She tracks down Sue and Tommy and warns them not to disgrace Carrie. Tommy drives to Carrie's house after school, much to her chagrin, because she doesn't want her mother to find out she chats to boys. He swears that he will not leave unless she agrees to accompany him to prom. Carrie says okay, but only if he brings her home before 10:30 p.m. She can't wait to be like the other youngsters. She goes shopping for prom dresses, but none are within her price range, so she goes out and buys fabric to make one herself. Chris is enraged when he finds Carrie shopping. She and her buddies plan to perform a joke on her during prom. Carrie returns home to find an enraged Margaret waiting for her. She informs her mother that she is going to prom, but Margaret refuses. Carrie becomes agitated and levitates objects to vent her rage. Margaret prays to God, believing that the devil has seized control of her daughter. Carrie instructs her to stop talking, but Margaret prays even louder. She eventually causes her mother to levitate, causing her to go silent. She lets her go after a while, stating that the topic is ended. Meanwhile, Chris and Billy are with their buddies at a farm. They gather blood by cutting the throat of a pig. They then break inside the gymnasium, which also serves as the prom location. They rig the pail with pig blood with the intention of dumping it on Carrie on stage. Carrie gets ready for prom and puts on little makeup. She has a gorgeous appearance but is really apprehensive. Margaret requests that she dress modestly, but Carrie refuses to argue with her. Margaret warns her daughter that everyone would laugh at her, making Carrie even more apprehensive. She locks her mother in the praying room before leaving. When Tommy sees her, he is speechless. They walk hand in hand to the prom, and Tommy presents her to his friends. Miss Desjardins compliments her clothing and encourages her to enjoy herself. With time, She relaxes and becomes more at ease around Tommy. After a while, the two slow dance together. Carrie's night is about to get much better when Billy and Chris break into the venue. They wait in the interim stage to carry out their plan. They rig the prom king and queen election so that Carrie and Tommy would win. When the pair walks up to the podium to accept their trophies, they will pour a bucket of blood on her. Chris texts Sue before the election that they are about to disgrace Carrie. Sue rushes to the prom to confront her. Tommy and Carrie quickly become prom king and queen. As everyone applauds for them, they are called to the stage. Sue arrives at the building and finds Chris in the rafters, just seconds before spilling the blood on Carrie. Miss Desjardins notices Sue and assumes she has come to ruin the occasion, so she shuts herself up in the room, not paying attention to what she has to say. Chris finally pulls the rope, spilling the blood on Carrie. She also hacks the monitor and plays the video from the day she had her period. Everyone chuckles as Miss Desjardins steps forward to assist her. Carrie, on the other hand, has lost her senses. She pushes Miss Desjardins back without touching her, and everyone gasps. Seconds later, the pail falls on Tommy's head, killing him instantly. With a single scream, Carrie loses control of her strength and pushes the audience away. She carefully places Miss Desjardins on the stage and finishes off the remainder of the audience. She then takes out outside in search of Billy and Chris. They drive away in their automobile, but they are being followed. Billy attempts to run her down, but Carrie uses her power to stop the car, forcing him to strike his head and die instantly. Chris attempts to run over her again, but Carrie steers the car into a petrol station. Chris dies slowly, plastered to the windshield. As she watches, she returns home and discovers her mother is not in the praying closet. She takes a bath to wash away the blood. Margaret finally comes in front of her, and Carrie embraces her mother, telling her that she was correct about everyone making fun of her. Margaret believes she is being punished for her sins with her husband, so she stabs Carrie with a butcher knife. Carrie attempts to save herself, but Margaret becomes enraged and chases her into the kitchen. She has Carrie pinned down and is about to stab her again when she is stopped by her power. She hurls various sharp things at Margaret, attempting to crucify her. Then she sobs as she holds her dying mother, regretting what she has done. Finally, she unleashes her strength and destroys the house. Sue arrives at the house just as Carrie is about to leave. She is going to kill Sue as well, but she stops when she realizes she is pregnant. Carrie smiles and says it's a girl. Sue is sent outdoors to rescue her from the crumbling ceiling. Margaret and Carrie perish moments later under the falling house. Sue is in a hospital bed months later, screaming in anguish as she gives birth. Suddenly, a bleeding hand comes from her, and she realizes it was all a dream. Her mother consoles her and she begins to hyperventilate, believing she is soon to give birth to Carrie.